Are they a playoff poser? Are they legit? We'll find out. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. So, fellas, I'm going to run straight through the 14 teams that are in the playoffs at this moment, 7 from each conference. You tell me the biggest poser. Again, the fellas, 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776, or Key J and Z on Twitter. Biggest playoff poser at the moment. The playoff field. Go ahead.
The playoffs start today.
If the playoffs started today, but of course we know they do not. Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Buffalo, Indy, Tennessee, Cleveland, Las Vegas. That's the AFC. Obviously, we don't need to mention teams like the Steelers and the Chiefs. I think we all know they're legit. All right, over in the NFC, here are your 7. New Orleans, the Rams, the Packers, the Eagles, the Seahawks, Tom Brady and the Bucs at 6, and cute Kyler at 7. And by the way, I know that's a lot what I just reeled off. Everything I reeled off is in order from 1 through 7. So those are the 14. If it started today, I want to hear who the biggest poser is in your mind. If you're listening to us, wherever you are, thanks for tuning in. Happy early Thanksgiving. Hit us up on the phone or hit us up on Twitter.
So we can't name an NFC East team.
No.
It's in the play. It's in the play.
Because that's easy. That's a given.
No, he said Eagles.
I know, but that's a given. Come on.
But
man, you just got to get in, though.
I mean, but they will obviously be the answer. I mean, we have to exclude the NFC East. I think we should do that.
You get a home game. You never quite know. Look, they almost beat McCown almost beat Russell Wilson in the playoffs last year. That game was in Philly. It was cold. It was different. You never know, right? You host a playoff game, things can happen.
That's what I say, too, though, Jay. It's like basketball and college basketball, and I hate to refer to the Sweet 16 or whatever, but look at every year, there's what do you call it, bracket buster or something like that. Yeah, you get one of them teams that come out of nowhere, and you're like, well, they got like 5,000 people enrolled in the whole school. How did that happen?
Yeah, but poser means like you had higher expectations for them, and they're not that, right?
Well, we had high expectations for Dallas as well as Philadelphia. Yeah, you did. Okay. Man, if you ask
Dallas way more than Philadelphia, though.
No, if you ask Pat,
come on, Dallas Key with all those toys.
No, but think about it though, Jay. At the beginning of the year, if you ask some of these Philadelphia Eagle fans, like a Pat in Allen, they would tell you based on the way Carson Wentz finished last year, drafting Jalen Rigger and all that, and Deshaun Jackson coming back, and all of those sort of things, that the Eagles look like with the Cowboys the team to beat in the NFC East.
Okay.
And now it also depends on what your definition of poser is. Evan, our great producer, raised a point.
Well, I wouldn't say great producer.
Well, I'll say it. But sometimes a poser is you're not as great as your record indicates you are, right? That's like somebody pretending that they're tough, but they're not really tough, right?
Yeah,
so it's just sort of the interior version of how you're looking at it.
Most likely.
Wow.
No, just a shot.
Come on, Jeremy Roach. Come on, Jalen Johnson. Let's go this year.
By the way, we can even throw it out. If the Cowboys win tomorrow, they're going to launch themselves, at least for the moment, into first place in the division, and there's undeniable talent. You could say whatever you want about how healthy the talent is,
well,
but the Cowboys have a lot of talent.
That's what I'm saying.
They have Washington at home. Mm-hmm. There will be minimum fans in attendance, which is a plus for the Cowboys, because if you got some fans, you got some noise, you get a little bit of home field advantage. To Andy Dalton's credit, he came in and played well last week against the Vikings, and they won that football game. So they smell it. Regardless of what we might think about them, they smell it. They smell the opportunity to still win the NFC East, to still say we won the NFC East in 2020.
Let's talk about the Browns in terms of, are they as good as their record indicates? We're going to go to Cleveland here in 3 minutes, get the pulse of the Browns nation that has been waiting for this moment. They have the NFL's longest playoff drought. They haven't been there since 2002. The Browns are 7-3. Now, that's a gaudy record for them. That's as good as they've been through 10 games in about 13 years. At 7-3, you could identify them as a poser, because there are some people out there that will say, I'm not really sure the Browns are a 7-3 team. I'm not sure they're that explosive. They're that good.
Here's what I would say about that, much like we just said about 3 minutes ago. Once you get in, things change. What do they have that a lot of teams in the National Football League does not?
They have a ground game.
They have a ground game that's portable. And what do I say? Play defense. Denzel Ward is out. Once they get him back, Myles Garrett back, that defense becomes something a little bit different. Now, all of a sudden, you look up and they get the right draw. And what I mean by that is the right team. Let's say it's Cleveland versus Tennessee, somewhere along the lines, or Cleveland and the Raiders or whatever, and they find that right matchup. And then all of a sudden, they're punishing you in the cold, in the snow, in the rain, And they're not asking Baker Mayfield to throw the ball because we got two dudes in Kareem Hunt and Chubb behind us that can tote the rock. All we need you to do is make one or two throws, and that's it. It's all about the right matchup. And I remember when we went to the Super Bowl, we played Philadelphia in the NFC Championship game. We had lost to them earlier in the year. We wanted to see them again. But the divisional round playoff game prior to the NFC Championship game, we drew the San Francisco 49ers instead of the New York Giants. Mm-hmm. The New York Giants would have posed a different type of opponent for us because they had Jeremy Shockey. They had some, and our defense is lights out. They would have probably still lost the game to us, but it would have been a different type of game opposed to one-trick pony San Francisco that had Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens. We shut down Terrell Owens. The rest was history.
But, Key, doesn't that make the point, though, that you know exactly what the Browns are? They are a one-trick pony. I mean, the fact that Baker Mayfield hasn't thrown a TD, and it seems like almost – I understand that Kevin Stefanski knows who he is. I understand that he's committed to the run game. But wouldn't you have to put some severity into the fact that you can't trust Baker Mayfield when you need him to?
You're correct about that. But what I'm saying is if you get the right opponent, then you could take advantage of that. And we don't know where Cleveland falls in this equation at. But if Cleveland somehow draws the right opponent,
but you can say that about everybody, though, Key. You can say that about every team if you draw the right opponent.
No, you can say that about every team.
But I need you to tell me who the biggest poser is. And we're talking about the Browns. Like, I can't. It can't be. Depends upon what kind of opponent they draw.
Because I don't know if they're posers yet. I don't know that.
But use Jay's rationale. If they're a one-trick pony, they're one-dimensional, and that one dimension isn't your quarterback, and your quarterback has got to make some throws in the playoffs. If you're one-dimensional, I get it. The running game, it's portable. You can use it. Bad weather. The Browns know about bad weather more than any other team here recently in the league. But if Jay's saying they're a one-dimensional team and they're 7-3, wouldn't that maybe be the definition of a poser?
Well, it could be the definition of poser, but if you're talking about one game in the playoffs, and let's say, for instance, somebody they draw stops there, they get the Buffalo Bills with a top defense and they stop the run game, then they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble. If they draw the wrong team and the wrong opponent that can stop the run game, they're going to be in trouble if they depend on Baker Mayfield to drop back and throw the ball 30 times.
I mentioned we would go to Cleveland at 6:40 a.m. Eastern, and here we go. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. Let's welcome in Tony Rizzo, ESPN Cleveland, co-host of the Really Big Show, alongside Aaron Goldhammer, weekdays from 9 to 1.